Welcome to All Worn Out. I'm your host, Warren Meredith. On the show today, Jon Rioux, vocalist at FanterA Tribute from Hell, a PanterA Tribute. He's got a fantastic musical story and history. Let's get into it now with Jon Rioux. Hi everybody, welcome to All Worn Out. It's a podcast about music. It's a podcast about what you're passionate about, and it's a podcast what our guest is passionate about. Today I'm joined by a very hard, heavy, cool guest, Jon Rioux. Jon, you are a fantastic vocalist, and
so are you, man.
Well, thank you very much. Cheers to that. I'll take it from you, man. Absolutely. Thank you. And I find you so fascinating because there's ways of us to go back and look at what you've done 15, 16 years ago. And I don't think that's the case with all of the artists. It's certainly not the case with me. I like to hide that stuff. I keep that shit, you know,
well, there's probably some shit.
And I'm like, no, that's never coming out. No one's never going to hear that, you know? But you, the stuff we go back and it's like, it's very, very cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so my first question. A little more progression over time?
It's always a progression. Life's a lesson, right?
Hell yeah.
I think it's the same with art too. We learn who the fuck we are, and I mean, like anyone, I tell that to people all the time. Like, I just like we all, even back in the day with answering machines, right? You hear your voice on an answering machine, you be like, "That's me." It's like because we only hear the resonance through our crown and stuff, right? So it's when you hear it. Now I'm used to it, and you're obviously used to it as well. But there's even times I'll catch myself and be like, "That's me, man."
Oh yeah.
You know?
You hit a good note, really nice and clean, and it's like something where you were like, "Whoa, that's sweet." But it is rare. It is rare.
I think that's a wisdom, like aging wisdom, right? So
yeah.
As we're old, so
old men, old cranky men. Remember that movie, Old Men, with Walter Matthau and
old stinky men?
Yeah, it was great. So where does your journey begin? Where were you born, Jon?
I was actually born in North Bay, Ontario. Up north, it's North Bay. It's about 4 hours from Ottawa.
Yeah.
And then I actually grew up like from grade 5 onward. I say I'm from Sturgeon Falls because that's where all my wrongful doings and shit happened. But since grade 5, I grew up in Sturgeon Falls, which is a small town in between Sudbury and North Bay.
Do you have a song called "My Wrongful Doings"?
No,
that's
actually.
what you and me are gonna release.
All right.
That. Okay.
We'll keep that in mind.
"My Wrongful Doings." I like that. So, okay, Sturgeon Falls, North Bay.
Yes.
Gritty towns.
Yes.
I'll tell you something.
Gritty yellow.
Man, I went up there for a job interview for Kojiko many moons ago to work for the TV station.
Sturgeon?
North Bay. Yeah, I did not get the job, but I'm kind of grateful at this point. And
rightfully so. And
then, so we played a show there. Tim Sherry played up there a summer or two ago because we went like Sudbury, North Bay. And then we finished at Go North Music Festival in Dick's Landing, Richard's Landing.
Dick's Landing.
Yeah.
Everyone's landing on Dick's.
Yeah. So we go up there, and I remember we were in North Bay, and my two guitarists the whole time were like, my one guitarist is Miguel, and he's got a great French accent. And so he's going looking at Joe, and he's just going, "There's ghosts everywhere. I don't trust this place. I can feel them here. I can feel them over there." And Joe's going, "You're right. I absolutely feel it." And I'm going, why are guitarists so dicked in the brain all the time? But I love them.
That's why we love them. That's why they come up with the cool shit.
Yeah, man. So that's cool that you come from there. And like, how do you work your way down?
To Ottawa?
Yeah, down.
No, it is down.
Yeah.
Ottawa, actually, it was our original band from back in high school that we just talked about. Define. We just wanted to branch out because we really...
Wait a minute.
Took over.
Defined? A band took you from North Bay down to Ottawa?
Yeah, well, Sturgeon Falls, really.
Okay.
Yeah, we decided we wanted to basically branch out to a bigger city because we were like already taken over, like well known enough in all the regions up there. So it was time to go to a big city, like especially college was coming up, and we were doing really well. So it was like we're going to either Toronto, Montreal, or Ottawa. But a lot of Sturgeon natives and stuff were moving to Ottawa for education and whatnot, and we figured, Ottawa is It's a great city. It's clean.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the right choice for heavy music, but we still pierced. Like fuck, we had a blast. Like now, it's different now. I don't get out as much except for when I'm playing shows. That's when I party and get out to bars. And I wish I could to get out more, but I'm, as you know, out in the sticks a little more too. But it's different now. Like even to get out and you don't see the same people, obviously. But back then, man, fucking times of a life, man. Like it was, we used to pack Mavericks and shit. Like those were our stomping grounds, and we used to play with. I'm sure you know the boys in Anire. Yes. We used to play on the Gatineau side, and it's just we would tour with Anire, and like it was just good times, man. Like we just fucking packed the places, and there was definitely a scene. As much as it wasn't mainstream, according to, like, definitely Montreal and Quebec side are a really good place to pierce for heavier music.
Yes.
But Ottawa had its scene. It still does, but it's
not what it was.
Especially with a lot of the venues being down. But those are fucking times I'll never forget, man. Some of the best times were for sure in that band, for sure, man. And that's where a lot of lessons and progressions came from.
So let's go back in time, back to when you're a young man. You're going.
I'm still a young man,
a baby man. We'll take it back in time to baby John mode. You're like 13, 14 years old. Have you discovered what you wanted to musically be interested in yet?
At 13 and 14.
Like, when does it start to come into focus that you're gonna sing? And that it's going to be heavy. I
think I was a late bloomer with the heavy music. Like even with PanterA and shit like that. Like even Slipknot when they came out, it was a lot of noise for me. I was always like, I grew up in churches, fucking Mariah Carey, Alanis Morissette, Michael Jackson, of course. I was into a lot of pop music growing up, and I guess not gospel, but like a lot of stuff in the church. I think a lot of that.
Me too.
Involved. That's you know, that's where we get the soul from, man.
My mom was always in the choir, and there was always.
But that's the best way to learn singing.
Yeah, I agree.
The soul comes from that, I think. You know,
yeah.
And so it was my brother who introduced me to Aerosmith.
Nice.
And that was like the rock and roll started, and it just got heavier from there. And then high school and influence, and I guess a lot of just tumultuous ways that I grew up in foster care and shit. It was a therapy and escape to kind of just project those emotions without caring or being judged or whatever. It was, you can make it as an entertainment where instead of having to talk to someone or be labeled as something, it was a way to basically just kind of disperse that energy, in a positive way. But I always try to, like, I'd speak darkly and shit, but it was always. My lyrics have always focused on optimism in a sense. Like, obviously, shit life situations, but always a way to fucking look the end of the tunnel, whatever, so to speak. I think that's always the end goal is to, accept failure and fucking shit things that happen. But there's always a reason for when shit's going to shit. It's usually a preparation for something better, right?
It's very true. It's very true. Things can get bad, but sometimes that's because it's supposed to come to an end, and you're supposed to start something new.
It's usually what it is.
But back in those days, was that your first band in high school?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
and only.
How many of you were there in the band originally?
We were always a 4-piece. Sorry. I think we had 2 guitarists at first, but it started. That's back to the question. Sorry, I didn't fully elaborate. Okay. My bad for.
No worries.
AD, there's squirrels everywhere.
There's squirrels all over.
All the time.
All over here. So don't worry about it.
That's where it became a talent show thing. We're supposed to do Limp Bizkit, and then I don't think if I was even supposed to sing. I was just supposed to do a Silverchair song, and then I had to do Limp Bizkit my way with the same group of guys. Like the band Defined wasn't established at that time yet, and it was just a talent show because we used to have the rallies, right? I'm sure you guys used to have that at school, and it was a fucking hit, man. People loved it, and as much as were our worst critiques, like people loved it, and there's just so many lessons that came from that, and that's where Defined started. We had 2 guitar players at that time, but then in the end, it became, as we spoke with bands are like marriages, it's like having 3 or 4 other girlfriends, and you gotta, it's a lot of dedication. Commitment, sacrifice, and compromise, and
so much
compromise. Seemed easier, and we're like, PanterA did it. We're like, we're gonna fucking do it, and we.
You had that young energy, and it probably was really powerful.
Yeah, it was definitely a deep passion. You know, I think you have to. I think anything in life is important to manifest, right? I mean, optimism is manifestation is basically a vehicle of optimism, right? So I think to attract that positive energy is to think not in a conceited way or cocky way, but to still be scarce and because once you're there, when you think you're the shit, you stop learning, right? So I think it's important to still to know you're going for something, but accept your challenges and failures and keep learning, right? I mean, we're always learning every day.
My great uncle years ago, bless his heart, he was he was a hard knock dude. Like, he came out of high school.
I love Hard Knocks.
He came out of high school and, like, not even. He was done, I think, in grade 8 or grade 9, and he went right into selling.
Just normal back then.
Went into selling lumber and made a real man and a real name for himself and bought homes and all that good stuff. And so he kind of heard that I was having anxiety and issues with that, and he took me aside, and he was quite elderly, but he got a good spark in him still. And he said, "You know what I did? Because I had that same thinking. I'd go into the mirror every morning, and I'd look at myself in the mirror, and I'd tell myself, you're going to sell lumber today, and you're going to kick butt, and you're going to do awesome, and you're a smart dude." And I'm not advocating that it will work for you, but I mean, I just remember the passion and the optimism.
I believe it does.
And I do too, that optimism can carry you places if you follow it up with that hard work ethic. Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man.
I mean, you hear it all the time. You are what you are what you eat, or you are what you think you are. Like, everything you basically manifests is basically I mean, there's a lot of actors that have said it too, like Jim Carrey. And it really is. I think you can. I've done it so much in my life. I think, in the times even when it's been negative, and I've gone. You know, there's a time in my life where music was just like I had a lot of musicians' guilt because of just past convictions at the time where I couldn't do it anymore for a bit. And as much as I knew it'd probably come back someday, just I didn't see it at the time, and I just didn't care for it. And it was just like a thing of,
That happened to me too. Did that happen to you following any kind of traumatic event or life-changing event, or did it just kind of happen?
No, it was definitely a heavy separation for me. It was a stubborn musician. I was working with some pretty big names, and my big goal was to have a family one day, and it was just as crazy as life can be. I was 10-minute call. Okay, you're in. Like, I was working with Tool Switch Engage at the time, and I'm going to New York. I get the call because I'd been working with them, and they're like, "Okay, can you come to New York? Fucking 10:30." This was like January 2nd, I think, 2012, if I remember. The days like 10:30 a.m. and I'm like, holy fuck, and I'm like excited and telling my partner at the time, my daughter's mother, and I'm just like, I'm on fucking cloud 9, but also, stubborn piece of shit, and like music's number one, and not realizing the things when you hurt people. And then like I find out I'm gonna be a dad. Like, she was trying to tell me that news as this guy's calling and shit.
It's like a movie script, man. Like, you're getting a call from like New York City, and it's like a big band. Like, that's massive. So and then equally massive is you're gonna be a dad.
Yeah, no, it's pretty wild, man. So talk about squirrels, right?
Yeah, man, that's wild.
Like,
stuff.
Fuck. Yeah, no, it was definitely and for me it was child involvement. For me it was a lot of
I know. I can tell. I've seen your Facebook profile, and I kind of creeped it because I do my research. And while creeping, I was like, wow, this dude loves his kid, and like you can see that very clearly through the pictures, and so proud, like so proud.
She drives me nuts more that she's older, but oh man, no, she's it's the best thing that's ever happened to me for sure. It's definitely taught me a lot of great things. It's one of those things in life where those lessons and progressions that mold us into better people.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I do enjoy with time separation. I enjoy my Johnny time, and I still enjoy my social life. But she's definitely the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's a very it's a great redeeming thing to see something that you've created. Like, aside from music, it's like that bigger thing that you created. And that is hopefully a great asset to society and
better than you, maybe.
Yeah,
Down
that's
in
what
some way we hope.
Yes, right.
And like that's so cool, man. I haven't done it, but the reason I'm kind of understanding it more, because before I was like, no, I don't get it. But now, like, I just didn't get it, But even though my parents have sacrificed so much for me, I still am.
It is, right?
I'm very selfish minded, but my sister had her child like 10 months ago, and now I'm an uncle, and
You're
like
fucking loving it.
my niece is the most important thing in the world now.
But you get to give it back when it's time.
Oh, that's yes, you get me, man.
It's,
like, I get to hug her, and she loves me, and then it's like, okay, here, you change your diaper.
Unconditional love is a pretty beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, that's what made it so tough, and I tried to fucking pick up the guitar, just whatever, just be in my studio. This is like our old place, and it was just like I would just like fucking break down, and like I couldn't, and I just.
Is that when you got into working on cars?
No, I've been doing automotive for fucking.
Since before music,
I took shop class in high school and stuff,
Yeah.
and that's what I took in college, because as much as my goals and aspirations were music, I was smart enough to.
You're smarter than me.
I went and got
Good call, man.
went and did a college course, which was a cash grab too. I should have just gone into a shop, but anyways, it was to have something to fall back on. I wasn't big into cars. Like I was more of a tinkerer. I always loved fixing shit and taking shit apart as a kid, all the doorknobs in the house and automotives. Fuck, whatever. Like I didn't even know how a clutch worked and all that stuff, right? I was never the guy who would like read car mags, even at the dealerships. But I'm a particular good mechanic and take it apart. I can figure shit out. I'm out of the box kind of guy, but I'm not the guy who grew up in reading muscle car magazines. Like I read music and porn mags instead of,
You mixed in a couple car mags in there. Don't lie. No,
I
I'm
have.
joking.
But
oh man, and
was,
for you kids out there, yeah, that's right. Porn used to be on paper. Okay, it used to be in a book thing, in a booklet,
and we had to fucking exchange and trade. You've had it for a week now, dude.
Me and my best friend John, when we were about 10, we broke into my neighbor's shed, which was not good. But we took the porn magazines that were hiding in there, and we took the BBs for the BB gun. There was no gun, and we took a knife, and we went and we dug a hole in his backyard, and we fucking like hid that.
You're a fucking rebel.
Then his mom found it, and his mom was like, where the hell did you get these 90s porn mags or 80 porn mags from? Because they were like my neighbor's son who had like moved on. And we got in big crap. We had to go knock on the door and apologize and be like, yo.
But that's how it was back then.
Yeah,
right?
man.
Accountability.
It was.
Nowadays, like, what the fuck? Like, the kids don't have to do shit anymore. It's like, no, man, we used to have to go and it was the embarrassment of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I stole your porn and BB pellets.
Exactly. I broke into your shed, and your son's old, masturbation shed there, and I fucking stole it.
Did you guys do it in the shed? No.
No, we ran. Oh, man. Yeah, good times. So, you're in this band, Defined. You come to Ottawa because you've kicked ass in Sturgeon Falls. And now you're here, and now you're rising up. And I saw that, like, the band's got a long age to it. So did you make many member changes over the years, or did it relatively stay similar?
There was always a piston down in the engine of the guitar players, it seemed, especially. But no, we were, the drummer and I, Steve Lajeunesse, we went to high school together. And that's where the fire came. That talent show where it started, and we were just fucking driven, and that manifestation of like, we can be that fucking next big band, and like just the belief and even knowing, maybe not knowing, like, when you're younger, you think you know everything, but even knowing we had a potential, but also learning along the way that there's a lot of shit to learn from, because like we used to be little fucking stand-up stick dummies on stage, right, when we first started, and then we played Battle of Bands. Like, we used to play this big extreme band slam, which would carry you to the Canadian Music Week, and so we were in that for a few years. But I think it was the first year when we were in that, and we played against Redefined, which was really
trippy,
really strangely cool, and they had a good show.
Nice.
Which, if John, you're listening, that's we still keep in touch. They're all guys from like St. Catharines and shit, but excellent band. Like, they were like a Toolish, but they had a fucking show. Like, they were like moving around and like doing this weird shit. And that's where we're like, man, we're like, guys, we got to move around, you know? And like, so the next, we used to like, our school was awesome for that, man, for music and shit. But so we'd play at like, not just rallies, but there'd be like dances or whatever. And instead of just pop dance all night, like then we'd actually be like defined headlining band. We'd play on the stage in front of hundreds of students. And this was the carnival or something.
There it is. There it is, folks. I've made this point several times on this podcast, and now John is echoing it. When rock music, or music in that vein, is doing well, it's being played at high schools. And it's being played with kids in mind. Yes. Like, that they're having a great time. When Limp Bizkit took off, he wasn't selling to dads. It became that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we're dads now.
You know, but in the beginning, it wasn't. Like, it was marketed towards us. And, yeah, like I said before, like, Alexis on Fire playing shows out where I lived in the boonies, like, it was a big deal back then.
Yeah, man.
And they would pack it, and it was a building force. You know?
That's where what's really cool is the underground thing, right? It's like, it's bigger than purely, metal. It's like, we can go so deep in that. It's like the metal scene is like some of the most beautiful people you ever meet. You know, people who are especially like seen differently from the mainstream because they're they've gone through tumultuous life or whatever, right? Or maybe different on the inside, but everyone's so accepted. There's no.
It's not a place of judgment,
no,
and it's not even a place of anger. I know that.
Not at all.
I mean, I was a little meaner in high school. Like, I would have been way too afraid to try what you did. And I remember announcing the bands at the competition. Like they came and asked me, like, will you announce the bands? Be like, be the MC, be like America's Idol or shit. Yeah. And so I didn't think I could sing or ever would sing. And so, I mean, kudos to you that came and that happened and you were able to manifest that, because I get the manifestation thing. I get the idea of like everyone in the band aligning, and when it happens, it's magic. I've seen it.
Yes. And
it is a very magical thing, and I think every band like dreams of it. And the longer you're able to stay together like that and push together in unison, it's like, wow, you go so much further.
It's definitely a magic, right? There's a lot of people that play music, but there's just a certain clique. It's just Tragically Hip is like the perfect fucking example. They're not crazy, amazing musicians amongst their own, but like they were such a band together. Like they're definitely
I've had cool stories told to me about Tragically Hip. People who said, I saw those guys playing in their garage. I knew those guys in high school. Like those guys, when they started, they weren't what they became.
No, for sure.
And I think that's incredible that people there got to witness these guys not give up and somehow keep that lightning in a bottle going, that connection, because it's not easy at all to do. And so when you were 20, you were talking about 2012, and were you defined then at that point when you were being called by the people in New York?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys were doing really well then. Were you guys?
Yeah, it was definitely another thing that brought more buzz around, I guess.
It is buzz
in the scene, even. But I was more like, I was super stoked to hear that Jesse Leach came back, and I'm still in touch with him. I was just actually I caught up with him at the Quebec Festival just a couple weeks ago, and get to catch up backstage with them, and it's everything's networking too, right? And I mean, but YouTube, like we were talking about that earlier, YouTube has been such a great resume. But even at that time, it was weird because, again, manifesting, man. Because at the time, my drummer ended up working with Unearth, and
cool.
I was like, man, it'd be cool if one day. I don't know if Howard had left Killswitch yet at the time, but so Killswitch is I don't know how familiar you are with them, but they're like the pioneers of they brought metalcore, right? Which is like the melodic. So like it's not screaming all the time. There's a lot of dynamic, and so this was like breaking out, especially back in 2002.
Is that what metalcore is? It's like, so there's both, there's screaming and melodic.
Yeah, there's a lot of actual vocals, dynamic vocals, and heavy punchy breakdowns, and then actual thrashy vocals, that'll rip the shit out of you. But it's not just death, it's not death metal. Like everyone's like, oh, you like this. Like I've never got it. I appreciate death metal musicians because it's you need to be fucking hard. Yeah, you got to be talented to play it. Yeah. But it's not for everyone, and it's like if you don't like sushi or not, whatever. Fuck, right? So
it's true.
I've always, because I grew up in gospel churches and like more pop, whatever. Like, and I've always I like anything. I don't give a fuck. I'm not afraid to say Justin Bieber's super talented. Anything that has substance, I will listen to. I don't give a shit what people think. And if it's good, it's good.
That's very metal of you. And it's
I don't give a shit.
You know what? I tried to do metal once, and I have so much respect for.
I've been trying for years. Man.
I tried it, man.
I'm still trying.
I'm not good at it.
It's not an overnight thing for sure.
I think I have that limit. I come up to that limit where it's like scary for a lot of rockers, where they're like, "Oh, that's almost metal," but it's not.
I love what you guys are doing though.
Kind of on that edge, on that teetering on that line. Do you lose your voice? Does that happen to you? It happens to me.
No, not anymore. It used to. That's where, like, I never took vocal lessons or anything. Right? I took guitar lessons as a kid. That's the only thing I ever. I was always I'm all ears and.
Yeah, me too, mostly.
It was a summer of fucking. I was in college, man. Especially cranking out PanterA, really getting deep into PanterA, and like working night graveyard at Costco. So everyone would go back home for the summer, and I was stuck. Everyone would go back home, mom and dad, and I was, extended care maintenance out of foster care. So I would stay in my apartment all summer for like 2 months. And I especially that one summer, I locked myself in. I really started to get deep into PanterA. And that's why Phil was one of my, my moguls for, like, not the only heavy metal band, right? I used to get into, like, this is like Incubus when they used to be heavy, but not as mainstream, like the Good Science album. I don't know if you know about that. Seven Dust, all that kind of stuff,
I might not know, but I'm really hoping that people out there are getting it, and people who like me who might not know are getting into it, because I did get pieces of metal in my life, but I never embraced it enough or fell into the right place for it, and I was kind of taken by that 70s hard original rock style, like where they were taking 60s and go harder.
Shit too, man.
I know, because
I love what you guys are doing, man. Like I said, I've always.
But I respect it. You know what I mean? And I do love it.
I think that's.
I have memories of hopping into my car after my Tim Hortons shift at 17, and throwing in flames, and just like loving it, thinking it was the best shit I'd ever heard. But like, I don't know if I can find anything else like this, because the vocals are so cool. Like my friend was like into metal, and he was like, it is melodic. He's like, it is very melodic. It's
not just stream, right?
Yeah, and I really liked it, So I've always been open to all kinds of music. I took 3 types of dance class, 4 eventually. So like, I just love music. I always have. So I want to pick your brain about this more, because I think it's so intriguing, and a lot of musicians never get this. So I think you should be proud of yourself, because I really think music took you places where a lot of musicians badly wish it would take them. So it feels like to me.
In what sense?
Well, tell me if I'm wrong here, but was Killswitch Engage, and was what was the band that was working with your drummer?
Unearth.
And was Unearth. Were they trying to poach you guys? Were there bigger acts, big names coming, smelling around and going, there's real talent here, and I'm going to try and grab it out? Or were they trying to help you guys sincerely?
No, I think, a lot of it was, I wouldn't necessarily, it was more of like open worldwide auditions kind of thing. But also, before going, and that was, the problem with us was like, even when we did have that, the outside people trying to help us, like, we were a little too skeptical of the industry, which was good in some ways, but also there's times like when we won a battle of bands, which we played many, right? And there was a time we did so many, we're like, we're not doing them anymore, right? We had a full 24 or 36 hour free recording at Easter Island Studios, which was the studio in Sudbury at the time. And we went in there, and Billy, the owner, totally different kind of person from us, but he saw it, and he's like, dude, I remember we all laughed, like he's like, this is stellar. And he offered us to record a full fucking album as long as it took if he had 5 points. And we like talked about it, and we're like, nah, that's a lot, and we backed out. Yeah, we definitely kind of stubbornly stayed too independent in some ways, but you know, you do hear a lot of horror stories of shit. So I don't, in a sense, before I get back to how that, that's where like before our incident, like I had my own studio and shit. I was in full control of my art, you know, so I didn't have to depend on a producer, which is good because that's what I want to do when I take some time off. I just want to go be the musician, because you do plateau sometimes, because I would fucking do all my production, and I love that shit. I get obsessive. I really get neurotic about it. But then I'll do the video to put on YouTube, and like by the time I'm doing the video and shit, I'm so done. I'm so over it, man. I'm so fed up and sick of it. Where you plateau, and sometimes you park it for months because you're just like, you're not done, and you're just like, you feel like you're not getting anywhere. So we did kill a lot of opportunities, I guess, in a sense, but we always had a hard time with guitar players, and it was just always it was always me and Steve who were the full fucking fuel for that. We were like, you know, we're fucking going all the way. We are that band. We're gonna be that band someday. But that potential, that said, the potential was there, obviously. And so Steve, I don't know, him as well was, I think, you know, applying with Unearth and shit. But for myself, it was I didn't I didn't really want to do it. Like I had people who knew me and knew us. They're like, John. They're like calling me. Fuck, what was his name? Jer. He used to work at Live 88.5. Mm-hmm. He was the bouncer there. And he was from Sturgeon, too, as well. I'm trying to think of his name, but, like, just a more acquainted person. But he knew our band, and he knew, like, small town shit, but we never really knew each other that well. And he actually called me. And I remember him out of, like, many people, like, oh, he's like, dude, so... He's like, yeah, I'm just calling, like, you never call her. He's like, I'm just calling, like, you're gonna fucking audition for Killswitch, right? Like, you're gonna play. I'm like, nah. I'm like, whatever. And I told him what I was telling everyone. I'm like, if they really want to look, I'm sure they'll find me, because if you would just punch in Killswitch vocal cover, I would pop up first on YouTube, right? So I'm like, they'll find me, whatever. And he's like, no. So like, you're trying out, right? And he was adamant that I was like, oh, I don't know, we'll see. I was just like, so it wasn't until a few weeks, and I was like, you know what? And then I was like, fuck it. Everyone was bugging me. I'm like, I'll just throw it. Fuck it. Mm-hmm. So I sent it in, and I actually made a trailer, which is still on my YouTube page too, and I made like just a trailer to kind of just create a buzz, whatever, right? And I sent my shit in, and yeah, their manager Vaughn got back to me, and sure enough, he's like, hey, he's like, John, he's like, whatever along the lines, he's like, I actually came across your page and wondered if you'd have any interest, kind of thing. He's like, fucking whatever. He's like, I'll send you a track. Can you work on it? And I'm like, yep. Yeah. And then so I worked on it, and I think it took like 4 or 5 days of like barely sleeping, doing the vocals, and then fucking
yeah, I'll bet that was insanity.
My perfectionist, neurotic nature of like the production, right? Where you probably know Mike Raymond. He's actually worked with Mike Raymond. He does a lot of guitar repairs and shit. He actually does guitar teching. He's with City and Color right now, actually, with Dallas Green. Yeah, he's awesome. Mike's an awesome dude. But I remember him being like, I was like listening to mixes and like showing the guys in the drum, like we were at Steve's Music, right? Showing the guys, like, he's like, dude, just fucking send it. He's like, they're not judging you by your fucking, by your production skills. I'm like, yeah, you know, like you want the mix to be good. And yeah, I'm like, fuck it. I sent it because I'm so picky with mixes and shit and my production stuff. But so yeah, I sent it, and then right away, man, fucking Vaughn texted me back, or emailed, sorry, at the time. And he's like, can you be in New York at this time? And then I was like, holy fuck, you know? And then I was like, yeah, whatever. And it took like a day or something. And I was like, I even had to, like, I re-emailed him again. I'm like, did you get my, like, is everything cool? And so we had to go, yeah, like, he just knew, I guess, he was confident enough that the guys would accept. But he's like, yeah, sorry for delays, but I couldn't respond until I got, like, the go-ahead. He's like, yeah. And he kind of wanted to make sure I was available, too. But then I'm like, fuck, I have no passport. I've never been out of the country. And I got to figure, like, dude, even that story as a whole, like, I almost didn't make it. It was fucking nuts, man. My life's pretty fucked up sometimes.
That's wild.
The shit that happens is just, like, it's really...
man.
It's cool and beautiful and fucked up all at once.
But, like, you're talking about something that, like, honestly, a lot of Canadian artists have had to overcome to get to another level. And it's, like, so frightening and scary for us. I think a lot of us would be like, oh, go to LA or go to New York and just drop everything and everyone you know and everything that you were, you know, and go there. That's terrifying to me. So, like, you mentioned Jim Carrey earlier. Like, he's someone who did that. And Michael J. Fox did that. And
hell yeah.
Yeah, man. You know, like, a lot of cool cool Canadians did this.
Dr. Brown.
Yeah, man. So that's really cool. And
I think.
So you made it there. You made it to New York, and what happened then? Well, like.
So yeah, thankfully, like, because I wouldn't have made it if I would have flew there. So my buddy Harvey Renault is a good guy. I grew up with. I didn't grow up with. I met him in the automotive industry at Honda, and we clicked because he loved music, and we always clicked and had fucking fun joking and shooting the shit across the bay to each other, and how did he? I forget how he found out, but he's like, dude, you're not fucking missing this. He's like, I'm bringing you, like, and he's a big fan of Killswitch. He's like, I'm gonna fucking drive you. He's like, you're not missing this. So he called in sick at work, and he's like, fuck it, we're going. So I'm like, dude, let's do it. I'm like, I'll pay all your fucking gas, your food, everything. I got you, accommodations. And we just took his old fucking, what do they call it at the time? Anyways, it was like about a 92 Civic, whatever. We took the Civic in great shape too, but we just fucked off, man. And even the guys were very accommodating, like Vaughn too. He's like, dude, I'll pay your. He's like, take some rest on the way. Like, you'll need to rest your vocals for tomorrow. You got a big day tomorrow, and we get to New York, so it was like a trip too, right? First time in New York, it was just pretty. It was a cool experience,
Hell yeah.
And but just like the thing of like being.
But you're not on vacation. It's a really cool experience. Yeah. But in the back of your mind, you're like, I can't really relax. It's not like it's amazing, but I still have to be on my toes.
Yeah, I didn't sleep at all.
Like, I kind of feel that way, like, when I'm at the studio. Like, when I go to Toronto to record. Like, I feel like, oh, yeah, I kick my feet. Oh, no, I can't. No, I can't. Everything is go, you know?
But that fucking...
But that's the beauty
those
of it.
Those endorphins just keep you going, right? So it's like it's a natural drug. The endorphins just keep you rocking.
That's really awesome that that Vaughn was cool to you. And, like, that they took care of you.
He's still very cool. He's...
And that they worried, like, not worried, but were considerate about
they
what
were
you had to do.
Awesome gents, man. They're always cool shit, and Vaughn's always he's a class act guy, and I still keep in touch with him specifically, especially, and like when they come to Canada, he's usually hooking me up with like passes and to catch up with the boys, and it's awesome to see them doing what they're doing. They're going back on tour with Iron Maiden soon, and it's just like sometimes right. I was like, man, that was the thing, right? I'm gonna go tour the world, and that's why I go on vacations more now, but I used to never growing up go south. I used to take the vacation pay. I would keep working the 2 weeks. I never took 2 weeks off. I would always, or I'd spend it on fucking studio gear, and but that was always like, that's gonna be my ticket to tour the world and travel the world, right? But it may still happen, and I still aspire for that, but I was at a point where, especially when we're younger and stupid, I was definitely like selling myself to, I was whoring myself to the industry. I would have done anything almost at some points, but there was, after that, and also like Define, we were like still doing well, and opening for big acts, and like, and especially with PanterA, so Rex.
Wait a minute, you just threw that in there. What do you mean, especially? Opened for PanterA?
We opened for Kill Devil Hill, which Rex Brown, PanterA bass player, was in. And,
okay.
And we partied with them after. And
hell yeah, that's a dream come true moment.
Well, it was. But
or it's like meeting your hero thing.
It was, and it was like, man, it was one of those realizations. This is when my daughter was about 8 months old, and I was kind of being stubborn and shit still, and I was like, man, this guy's like kind of going home to no one now. I'm thinking like, he looks rough around the edge. I'm like, this guy was like a god before, and I was just like, I've always liked to have that safe space, and I've always believed in,
That's what I'm saying about the Canadian thing, that we come from a place of good people, a lot of good people, not everybody, but there's a lot of good people around us, and it's just, I had a hard time. There was times I dreamt about wanting to go do Second City, like before music, and I wanted to do comedy, and that was like for a long time. And then kind of it came time, and I was like, I don't.
It did. It was happening. It was fruition. It was coming to fruition, or
nah. I don't know. I was pretty funny, but I mean, it just. I was pretty goofy, anyways. But it wasn't right. It wasn't the right timing. And for me, I wasn't ready. And even when I did go to Toronto eventually.
Why do you feel you weren't ready? Because you thought of it too much?
I just fall apart, man. I'm like a living Kramer, except I don't have this nice apartment to always go back to. It's like
slide.
It's like he's always got this magic place to go to, even though he's a complete wreck. It's like, what a horrible example for me, because I'm a complete wreck, but the $1 million apartment in Manhattan just doesn't appear.
It's tough, right?
But I mean, with music, that's that's a very cool experience that you had, the high school experience into this, into having connections to these very big, prominent, like you said, founders of a kind of a subgenre in metal. That's very cool.
Yeah, it was definitely.
And
was
wild.
nervous for sure, right?
And
it's
wild.
Like, these are guys we would have like.
So after
bleep.
So after Defined, what happens next?
So I definitely.
And can I have a shot?
Yes, I fucking love how you're asking, man, because I was trying to find the right moment.
I'm sorry, you know what?
No.
He brought some Fireball.
Yeah.
So you have to Fireball.
We're gonna finish this shit.
I've got no good place for him to pour it. We're just gonna do it. It doesn't matter to me.
As long as it pours in your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks very much.
No worries, brother. Actually, make sure to bring these shot glasses. These are from Cuba.
Hell yeah, Cuba.
I'm gonna put this back on the cold package.
Hell yeah.
It's always better cold. I got another beer for you. There's another beer here for you too when you're ready.
Sweet.
You due for a brew?
Well, sure. With that, I will be soon enough. Soon enough, I will be. All right. Well, cheers. Thank you so much, John, for
everyone.
coming on All Worn Out so
Thank
far.
you,
It's been
brother.
amazing.
Cheers to you, and my pleasure to be a part of your new avenue.
Yeah, I don't drink a lot, folks. But you know what?
Will
I
you
do,
be drinking tonight?
when I do, I have fun. So, woo! It's like that show Hot Ones when they're they're eating the wings. We're gonna do that, but we're gonna do it just taking shots. It's like, fuck. You forget
You
about
should have never invited me, bro.
forget about hot sauce. It's 10 shots. You got to get through them.
Yeah.
By the end of the interview, if whoever is still standing and doing cool.
Cheers to that, bro.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me, man.
Oh yeah, man. I really appreciate it. So you played. So when did you start playing drums? Because you'll play drums, right?
Yeah, I played drums. Well, focusing on vocals was defined, right? But like most of us were singing in the shower and shit. I sung in churches, but to actually like I said, never sung in a group or anything until defined, right? That was the beginning of the whole vocal frontman thing, which that's where I'm most comfortable at these days. But drums, I've always. I loved guitars. I used to fucking argue with my blood brother Eric about, he was into drums and be like, oh, we'd argue like, oh no, guitars more complex and more crazy, whatever. And, but as time, I think it was grade school actually, where I wanted to play the drums, and it was actually a church where I just hopped on the drum kit because Pentecostal church they have more live bands.
Pentecostal, yeah, man.
They have live bands and shit, and I just
went
hopped
to
on
5
the kit.
churches
Yeah.
growing up. We attended 5. And so I attended all the Protestant churches. So I have been to Pentecostal. And I saw, like, that's where I would encounter, like, most, I can't remember what you call them, but, like, the holiest of the holy rollers, The evangelists.
Yeah.
So we go in there to see them. And, like, because I went to Presbyterian, Anglican, Pentecostal. My parents just changed churches frequently.
Did it ever create any fucking turmoil within the family?
No, I mean, to be honest, it kind of worked out timing-wise. Like, I made my best friends, like, kid-wise, like, when I went to the Anglican church, and I just, like, made friends with, like, the priest's children, and
The most rebellious of all.
he had a very cool, attractive young daughter and a very cool son that were all very close in age to me, so it was like...
We're going to this priest's house for Bible study.
Exactly. I'm down, like Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
And, yeah, man. It was still totally. Churches is for me, and it sounds like for you too. There's a lot of music. There's a lot of music there.
It is.
And a lot of passion. A lot of passion, especially in the Pentecostal church. That's the point I wanted to get to.
Yeah, it's a different vibe for sure.
That's a place where they'll go, Jesus. People put their hand up.
And speak in tongues
Yeah,
and shit.
and
Like,
they put their
what the
hand
fuck
up.
is this motherfucker doing? He's like convulsing and shit.
Yeah. Well, one time me and my buddy, we got like touched like that, and we both went
You
down.
got slain?
Yeah, but they believed my friend. They didn't believe me. They were talking in my ear, and they're like, "Well, just stop." So
We know you're faking.
Jesus will come to you when he's ready. And my friend they're like, John, you're gonna be okay, because my best friend was John growing up.
He's
So
like, dude.
yeah, he was down there having an actual message from God, But anyways, yeah. Back to you.
I've been slain twice, and the shit is, I don't know. I can't even explain it.
Pretty wild stuff, eh? I know people too.
I've been out of like I'm spiritual, but I've been out of. I think religion is the problem with any sort of thing, but I have no opposition to people's beliefs. But I grew up in that. It was a lot of like forceful things that I didn't want. You know, it was just like I want to. Then I grew up and I was like, man, like there's a universe. There's fucking billions of religions. Like who's right? And like then some of the hypocrisy. But we can go on that for so long. But
we could, and the things that turned us off about it, I already know because we all know what turned us off about religion, and it's the judgment. And what comes with and what comes with the judgment comes guilt, and what comes with the guilt comes self-loathing, and none of us need that. None of us need it.
When aren't you supposed to accept thy neighbor, love thy neighbor, no matter what?
That is the whole point, man. That's what drew me in.
So many fucking hypocrisy
that is what drew me in. But the problem is the judgment, and we know from bands, we know from politics, we know from all this crap that organizations go through high points and low points.
Absolutely.
And that's how you get these atrocities that have happened over time, and also yearly you have good things come from it. So people, I see both sides of the story, but that's Warren. I'm always a fence sitter. I'm always on top of that.
No, I'm the same.
I'm always going, I see what you're saying, but I also see what you're saying.
I'm the devil's advocate and everything. I like, it's empathy, man.
Yeah.
I'm the but guy. Like, but
maybe.
Like, oh, I'll never do that. It's like, really? Like, you don't know until you're in the fucking same situation with the exact same emotions and everything. Never say never, man.
So true.
But I mean, there's.
So now you're in. I just want to say this. You're in the coolest PanterA band.
The coolest podcast.
Tribute. The coolest tribute band. I watch you guys' videos, and you guys have insane crowds.
Yeah, it's a.
Is that Quebec? Is that the amazing? Are those crowds in Quebec?
Quebec is phenomenal.
Right? It is, right? And when we went to Quebec City, I was like, I love this place. I joined a band with 4 French guys. When I joined Taming Sorry, it was me and 4 French guys.
Shit goes down.
They all spoke behind my back. I go to jams, and they were having conversations, and I was going, okay, I know what tabernacle means, and I know, I picked out what you said there. And then Miguel educated me on French music on our road trips. He would put on the French music station.
I cannot stand French music.
He would educate me on it, Fuck. Like, one year there was this song that was on, it was like, Katoate, something about a Katoate. And I was like, what the hell is a Katoate? And they were like, it's a sweater vest thing. And I was like, really?
Oh, the Katoate.
Yeah, man. Remember that song was a hit a couple years ago? Yeah, man. So and then they showed me. Well, we had Ced Auger open for us one time, or we opened for Ced. I can't remember. And this was in like a bar in Gatineau, and like Ced's incredible. His voice is so cool. He's got a following. But that night, I mean, it was a crazy night. Let's put it that way. All of our shows in Quebec and Gatineau, those early shows, like the dude playing spoons at the back of the bar, like just going wild. And I'm like, is this normal, Big? He's like, oh yeah, this is normal. Oh, yeah. This is fine.
Oh man, my father was Quebecois, right? So
nice.
I have Quebecois in my blood. And,
yes, sir.
They love to party, man.
They do.
But even like any kind of music, but metal and shit. That's why where I was saying earlier, Define should have moved to Montreal. That would have been. I think we could have. There's other than the other restraints. I think with members, I think everyone there has to be a driven goal and whatever. But which again, too many scrolls. I didn't finish how the members. It was the 2 original members and Neil, our bass player. He was from Sudbury. We found him in Sudbury. That was a cool story how we met in our college party house. But he was one of the longest added members too. But just playing in Quebec, if we would have went there, and like Quebec's always a great time. And FanterA, I do miss, and I look forward to releasing some my solo shit. But I can't do all that alone in the studio. Yes, but I mean,
you have a great voice.
I kind of
love it, and I mean that because like I was listening to you do the Capaldi. and I was like, wow.
I love it. His range is like right in my...
But see, I like you because you have grit to your voice. That's probably why you like me as well, right? I mean,
yeah, I love that.
We like the grit,
everyone
right?
does.
And that's what we like, and that's what we hope other people like.
I think a lot of people do. I think it's.
It's really cool, man.
And if grit brings
it's going through the genres. That's what I meant. Like, it's cool. It comes through in the PanterA, but then it also comes through when you're doing the Leo Capaldi stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, that's just a beautiful voice, and that's what you want, right? So that's so cool, man. And what I just meant, like, seeing, there's a lot of tribute bands, and I am friends with a lot of people in tribute bands, and they're all, to be honest, high quality. I've yet to, like, encounter, like, have you encountered, because you must do festivals, have you ever gone to a festival, and I don't want you to tell me who, but have you ever seen, like,
not at a festival, because you gotta
kind of know your
like,
shit,
if it's a good festival, yeah, it's, there's gotta be good bands. They gotta be,
like,
and there's
to do
some
a tribute band, you should be good, but I mean, you guys are excellent, and you deserve the kudos.
Thanks, man.
When we went to Toronto, we did the Rock Pile. Trying to think of the fellow's name, but he's in like 4 tribute bands, and he was showing me the different voices. Like, he was showing me like AC/DC versus Bon Jovi versus this, and I was like, dude, you're blowing my mind right now.
That's good,
like,
right?
Like some of us have 6, 7 voices. I don't. That's like when I realized that Axl Rose was singing with like 6 or 7 different characters throughout an album. I was like, what? Like, I didn't get that till I was in the studio, and I was like, oh, so this is like a character. Oh, okay, I get it now. And we're presenting this character, and it has to be natural. It has to fit this song.
Yes.
And the producer, like, made me understand this, but I didn't get it before.
No, that's what separates.
I didn't understand.
Especially vocally, emotions are top key, right? That's why, if anybody who just know me forever is watching, so many times it can't, like, it'll happen. It's I gotta really feel it or be feeling it, whatever. But as soon as someone asks me, like, John, sing, I'm out. Like, I can't. And like, well, you sing in front of thousands of people. It's like, but it's not the same at karaoke or a fire, because I gotta fucking, it's go time at a festival,
it's a job, and
you're
we're
in front of
prepared for it.
10,000 people, and you gotta fucking go. Or if it's in the studio too, and it's like,
that's like a comedian. That's like a comedian when they're saying, be funny. Tell me a joke, be funny, give me your act. And the comedian's like, dude, pay the $10 and come see me fucking live, and I'll give you everything I got. But it don't work this way. It's,
well, because then they can feed too, right? But then also,
man,
I always joke about that. I'm like, no, you got to pay to see me. But it's just because it can't, around a fire, like, I can't get fully into it, and then I'll be like, oh man, like, they're judging, like, and I got to talk to these people, not necessarily in those. It's just it's almost unexplainable.
See, I went to theater school,
There's
so I'll put a little thought into you here. So I went to theater school, and there's a lot of thought put into performance, and like, there's a lot of thought put into performance and like preparation.
Overly.
How do we prepare to perform? And how do we then come out of that? Because as musicians, we can attest that getting drunk or getting high might make you feel amazing on stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, maybe more. But eventually, it's going to kill the magic.
Absolutely.
And it's gonna take away what you originally fell in love with on stage. And that's why you'll see, like, Slash got clean, and a lot of these legends who aren't dead got clean and maintained a great career for themselves, because it's not the drugs that made Slash great. As much as people might want to believe it was the heroin that made him great, it really wasn't.
I didn't know he actually, he indulged in that, and he dabbled in it.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I wasn't there. Let's say.
I didn't know that.
I know this, that they were taken care of by strippers in the beginning. That the Hells Angels or whatever biker gang was sponsoring them, moved them in with strippers because they were so young. They didn't know how to take care of themselves. So the strippers did their hair, did their makeup.
That's crazy.
Fed them, did their outfits. Like, that was the early days, and took care of Slash doing his drug habit.
It's definitely not.
So
not how it is anymore, right?
That's my thought. So in theater school, they're trying to teach you, like, dude, like, you can do drugs and you can cheat. You can cheat to get that adrenaline. You can cheat to get that.
They actually teach
They
that?
tell you if you're
Go do some drugs.
No, they tell you the opposite.
Okay,
They're like, if you do the drugs, you're gonna cheat, and it's like steroids, and eventually, it's gonna really bite you. Like, maybe you're going to look ripped, and it's going to be amazing on WWE.
Well, then without it, what are you, right? I mean...
Bingo.
I think it's okay to loosen up.
Hey, there you go.
Back to Defined days, that's the thing, right? We were young and stupid. We'd be playing, like, dances. We'd get hammered, and I'd be like, ah! And where I didn't give a shit anymore, because I would just let go of a note. But I was like, at a point where we didn't do it anymore. We're not... There's even times where, like, hey, we'd have to be like, hey, you had too much, bro. You're fucking, like, you cut each other off. But it never, we still had that respect where we set that boundary that.
Don't let me take the high road here. Lake Huron, I have, oh God. We showed up at this guy's place where he wanted us to do a show for like his festival that he'd made. It wasn't really a festival. Anyways, the Mennonites were all around us, coming by on their carts. It was pretty amazing.
Fuck yeah! They must have built the stage and everything.
I think so, honestly. And like when we were on stage, they came up and they were like pouring the liquor down Mig's throat. Like they like had bottles of tequila, and like my guitarists like within
my view when you're on stage, give her
5-6 minutes into the set, I don't think they knew where they were. I don't like we were getting really drunk, and I mean, so it can happen. I understand, and also I've been there. I've been on stage where I was too drunk. I've been on stage where
not drunk enough.
I wasn't drunk enough. Yes, I've been through it. I'm just trying to say, at the key of it, you gotta love it. You gotta love being on stage.
I think it's feeling the moment, right? But I mean, especially not you can't do anything if you're fucking sloshed. If you get a little bit of vibrancy from alcohol, drugs, just to reach parts of your mind that you can't reach.
Bonham would disagree with me, but he's dead. So that's the only issue, right? Like, there are musicians, like Jimmy behind me, he disagree with me, but he's dead.
What you take, bro?
You know, like, that's the problem is, you know, there's so many fantastic stories of these legends doing these things to propel themselves, but, and also what I think about metal is, like, there must be this angst that's inside of you that wants to escape. Like, my anxiety plays a key role in me singing and performing, like, people will think like, oh, anxiety is really bad. No. It is. But when it's time to perform,
but I think
it's so powerful to me. You know, like when I used to play in chess tournaments, back when I was a little child.
Right, you look back at all this shit, like chess tournaments, right?
We'll go back, I was a little child. I walk into the room
and I see fight or flight, man.
500 boards. And you see all the little boys and little girls.
It's time!
Yeah, and you're like, do I run away right now?
Fuck no, you face that fucking fear, man.
And then when you win 5 games in a row, you're like, yeah! Even if I would do 4 out of 5, I'd be like, yeah.
Doesn't matter. You were there. You showed up.
Yeah, and that's what I tried to get.
Motherfucker showed up.
Yeah, get to people. I'm telling them, like, music is like sports. It's like people don't get that enough. It's like a hockey team. Like, everybody can pick up on analytics. Everyone can pick up on practice. Do things, but it's your way. It's your way of doing it. And
there's things you can't teach, right?
Bingo. Yeah, man. There's all these.
I'm so stubbornly with theory that I.
Yeah, but you did things so young, and you broke through boundaries that I think a lot of us just, like I said, I wasn't ready to.
But that was the anxiety that I broke, and you know what? It was when fucking society talked about anxiety. I look back, I'm like, man, I was anxious before going out. I've always been a social bug. I chill more. I love my alone time now. But I look back and be like, I'm going to the bar. I'd be like anxious because I know, like, oh, because you overthink shit. But also a lot of that, you're like earlier, like the comedy shit. It kind of makes me think of like when I bought my motorcycle. I was never the type of like, I'm buying the bike, fuck it, I'll figure it out after. Like if I would have been like, even my business, my automotive business, like I've been running for 5 years. I went back to Honda, like to the dealership for a year before because I thought of it too much, and I had a guy, a good client, who was like, I was doing it for a year at home, and then he was like, just go pay your taxes, go work at the fucking go to work, pay your taxes, do your shit on the side. And because I thought of it too much, where every time in my life that the whole relationship did it, it was like, I'm a very spontaneous person. I think some things do need to be calculated. I don't like to be reckless, but I don't like to plan because.
How did your band have success? Here's what I want to ask you. Was it through planning and setting goals? Because that's how my band kind of proceeded forward, was we set goals, and then we kept setting the goalpost back further. Like when we hit it,
but without overthinking it, right?
And like
just making that fucking. We're getting there.
We're going
Don't
here.
Don't think about how we're fucking getting
Bingo.
there. There's gonna be blood, shit, and
it's
tears.
Gonna suck. But
don't
we're going here.
Because if you think about how we're gonna get there, then that's where guys are like, whoa, we're gonna think. Oh, it's like, okay, we're not going there.
Then bingo. That's it again.
This is where we're fucking going. Don't fucking talk about it.
All I can tell you is, I had to cancel. Well, my band had to cancel 10 shows in the UK in September this year. And it's just because of funding. It's not like we had 10 venues in the UK that wanted to have us, that gave us a little guarantee.
Definitely technical.
And in the end, it still couldn't be afforded. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, that's what I don't miss about.
And that's the hardest part about music is the money. For me, the hardest part about music is the money, and nothing else. Like, because I love writing it, I love getting together with people and sharing in the writing of it. Performing it's a joy. to perform music live is an absolute gift, in my opinion.
It's a euphoric drug.
I've been doing it since I was like performing on stage since I was like 5 or 6. Yeah. So like just like doing plays and like man. When I used to do the comedy, I had an agent in Toronto. I went and did auditions, and what I learned when I was 15, 16 was there wasn't a lot of roles for gingers. If you want to be in a movie or in a TV show as a ginger, you can do so if you want to be a nerd, a geek, a loser who's being bullied. These are the roles I was going for.
Where's the alpha male script book?
Well, there was none of it. And there was none of even being the best friend. There was none of that even. Like, the Harry Potter script never came along.
I'll be your best friend, bro.
The Ron Weasley never came along. Because, oh, Harry, I'm a ginger, and I'm scared of everything, Harry. Please, girls scare me too. Like, you know, like, and I remember watching it being furious. Being like, this is hatred towards gingers, and he needs to be sued. But, you know, so I learned that young, that there's archetypes. And when I went to theater school, I realized, like, I was getting high and smoking way too much weed when I went there.
I heard you guys have the softest skin and the smallest nipples.
I had tiny nipples. How did you know that?
Holy fuck, dude.
My bass player has huge nipples. Yes, we call them sausage nipples or pepperonis. Because I'm like, dude, if you were a girl, I'd be all over you right now, boy.
Dude, I've been hearing this shit for years. This is on the...
You got big nipples?
You never heard of that? No, not me. I got small nipples. Right. The fucking redheads.
Look, you can tell I've been drinking, folks.
You never heard of that?
No. Oh.
See you again.
I'll be gone after this, folks, because I don't drink, so bye-bye, everybody.
This is where we might be past the warming up point.
I'm out of that.
You never heard of that? That's always been the the wives' tale or whatever. That, redhead women have the softest skin and fucking smallest nipples.
Redheads want nothing to do with me because they want, the same as me, like, I find it's weird, but women who are attracted to me in general are like, they're darker skinned. Like they're my first.
But that's probably not hard to find, right? They're all dark.
It's like, you know what I mean? Yes, exactly, John. Exactly. But what I mean is like, I don't know.
But you don't want to date yourself, right?
That's what I mean.
I had a friend where she's like, oh, but she's just like you. She's totally. I'm like,
yeah, but
she's Tara, me. I don't want to date myself. She's like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, fuck you. Like, I like dark Latinas and shit, or darker skin. And just women that are not usually opposites attract, right? And most of my, like the women that I attract are totally, I don't want a girl who's like, fucking, you know, bad boyish fucking.
Yeah.
I've always liked the very fragile woman, dark skin.
Did you date jealous girls ever, like with your band?
Oh, fuck.
Because I got off stage once here at the Rainbow, and these two girls came up and got a picture. I'm like, yeah, picture. And then my ex came right up, bam, punched right in the face. I'm like knocked down on the ground, and I'm like, babe, I'm trying to sell a CD. I ain't trying to make love. I'm trying to sell a CD.
You're trying to market here, motherfucker.
You know, like, that's a thing, you know? So it is a real thing.
It is a tough...
yeah.
For women who do put up with it and understand it,
kudos. That's what I say to my bandmates who have found the ones who are supportive.
There's a healthy jealousy, right? I mean, there's...
Oh, yeah.
By all means, if there's respect. If your partner is in the band and he's like, fucking... like, and
I get it.
I've done stupidities, right? And, like, my daughter's mother was... She was amazing for that. Honestly, I look back, that was very shit. I was like, man, she put up a lot of shit. But I had the one that I bought my house with. She was fucking psychotic, and like I wasn't even active in music yet, right? So that was back to that. It was like I met her, and I was like family mode. It was one of those things where like so FanterA, they bugged me for like a fucking year, right? So we were
tribute band already existed before you came along.
Yeah, they had done like 2-3 shows, and no offense to the old singer and shit, but like. The product wasn't there, whatever.
I don't think it's offensive because, like, when I looked at your video, like, all the comments are like, hey, you're Phil Anselmo's son. Hey, are you sure you're not fucking Phil Anselmo? Like, every comment. And I listened to it, and then I was like,
sometimes
they're not wrong.
I don't know sometimes how to take that. But that's
it's a compliment.
It is, but, like, some people say, you, or even I've had someone be like, you know, Phil said it himself. You can't be something you're not. I'm like, no shit, dickwad. Like, but dude, for me, it was like vocals.
Oh man, people don't get
covers. I think that's what always pushed me out of my envelope was I'd always try to emulate the singer as best as possible. That would change my range.
It's your job to emulate him as best as possible.
In that sense, but I was totally against cover bands and tributes before. Like
I get it.
When I joined FanterA, it wasn't my baby, and I was like, I'm kind of selling out. But that's where I'm getting. It was like with that partner I was at the time. Was like they were bugging me for a while because I met Sam Defoe. He's a fucking guitar virtuoso. We were backstage at Rockfest in Montebello.
Hell yeah!
And we were on the tour bus of our boys in Jesus, cheese and rice. Brain fart in here.
Jesus rice.
Cheese and rice. Cheese and rice.
Cheese and rice. We were in the
Despised Icons tour bus, and
okay.
My buddy Goyette's like, Sam, he's like, "C'est ton fucking chanteur." You understand French now with her?
A little bit, yeah.
He's like, "You want your fucking singer?" He's like, "He's your fucking singer." And I was like,
nice.
And so like they approached and they bugged. I was like, my guys, I'm like, I'm doing the family thing because I was still.
What a good guy to point that out, right?
Yeah, like, man. Well, it's networks and shit too, and Phil being one of my big mentors, so.
Like I said, I heard you sing Leo Capaldi. You're not Phil Anselmo. You have a great voice with great vocal qualities, which apply themselves perfectly to Phil Anselmo's delivery in PanterA. And honestly, my only thing is this. Can you go see PanterA live today? Can you go get that magic that was created? No, you cannot. So that means what you're doing is super important. And the closer you are to Phil, the better. Because you can't get that experience anymore, folks. It's key.
Again, we talked about this before the camera was rolling. It takes a foundation before we hear, it's the band, the singer. Are you good for one more?
This is the last one for me, folks. Let me tell you right now.
I'll take care of the rest.
Listen, we were supposed to wrap 5 or 6 minutes ago, but I'm not done because I think there's still a few more stories here.
Oh, fuck. We could be here
having
for a while.
fun. And listen, Daxon was in here 2 nights ago, so we were raising money with Daxon, right? So this is fun. This is a change-up. I had to watch my language. I had to be a good boy. I even listed that video as made for kids on YouTube. This one will not be listed as made for kids. I promise you.
I made sure folks asked him ahead of time. I said, "What are the boundaries here?" I'm like, "Can we
I'm
swear?"
not bleeping anything. I don't care. If you hear the word fuck, I don't care. I'm not bleeping this video. And if YouTube is like, I'm not monetizing this, I'm kind of making any money anyways. So eat crap, YouTube.
You love it.
I don't care. And honestly, I think fuck is part of the English dictionary now. It should be. Why aren't children talking to their teachers? Just joking. Yeah, that's definitely the last one.
Talking to their phones.
I'm not having this beer, man. I'm not driving tonight, but I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Hey. Gotta
open my Pepsi. I am a Frenchman at heart.
Where's your Joe Louis? Yeah.
That's right. That's what I said to Miguel all the time. I was really blessed by those guys because I'd come out of, you talked about not wanting to do music. My friend was murdered. I was done. I was done. Jesus. And I took 2 years off. I just didn't sing.
Doesn't disregard the friendship, but was he also like a bandmate? Is that what affected the music thing, or just your emotional?
So what happened was my bandmate would take me to his house every day after band practice because I'd drop him off there. And my bandmate would be like, "Come in, you gotta meet Mike. He's a great dude. Like, you love him." And for about 6 months, I was like, no, because I'm a recovering addict and I don't want to be around certain substances right now.
Cocaine?
It's a hell of a drug, folks. And so I didn't want to be around anything at that time because I wasn't very strong. And yet, at all. Whereas now, I'm pretty comfortable and cool.
Well, that's part of the challenge too, right? Again, meeting your fears. Like,
oh, yeah.
It's not...
So I went down into the basement and I met Michael and I loved him. He was a great motherfucker. Great dude. Fantastic. Brilliant. Solved a Rubik's Cube for me in 30 seconds. Right off the bat. Okay, for real. And then I found out, he's born in Israel, born in Japan, went to school in Israel. His parents are diplomats.
What's his background?
He was just a
straight up white boy.
But he had compassion.
Yeah, man.
So he was trying to protect a girl who got into a bad situation, and unfortunately, it ended up taking Michael's life. And so I was gonna testify in court, which I did, and this guy went to jail for 25 years to life. And in Canada, if you can get first-degree murder conviction, all I can tell you is it's a very serious crime. So at the time, it kind of really messed with me, because premeditation's a dirty thing. To really plan and execute something is a dirty thing. So it's like, to me, it's like how my band gets better, right? We plan, we execute. And that's the only way you get first-degree murder charges in Canada. So it really messed with my head. For about 2 years, I just stayed inside.
So this didn't happen on the spot when he protected the girl. The guy premeditated, you said.
He came in the house and killed them. My friend opened the door and told him he couldn't have what he wanted. And he just took a box cutter out and his throat. But I'm really sorry for everyone. I'll bleep that. But
no.
You know, it's a reality. It's a reality, and so it really took.
Right now, man.
I was with him for 6 hours before it happened. So I was the one telling him go to a women's shelter and all these things, and you got to come with me. And I left at 6 a.m. and my tire was slashed. When I went up the stairs, I stopped my friends and I said, "Come with me. My tire is slashed." I had a vision in my head. Like a strike of lightning.
Your intuition.
Like a strike of lightning. And it was like, I just saw him do it. And I was like, come with me, I'm not going alone. And it was done. And it was there just like I thought. So like, you know, horrible. And it took me out and I was traumatized. I've done the PTSD therapy.
For instinct, your gut's fucking...
It is everything. Believe it, folks. When your gut tells you something, believe it. It is so accurate. It's hard so accurate.
It's hard to influence that nowadays because we're so domesticated. But
I'm sorry to bring that up in your episode.
No, bro,
I don't mind taking it out. Like, I didn't want to put that on anybody.
I'm all fucking hurt, man.
He's in the corner over there. See? So it's my memorial to him over there.
Get over here, motherfucker.
And then I also got my other buddy over there who went from fentanyl, which is a horrible effing thing.
I've had that too, man.
And, you know, yeah, exactly, right?
Fucking heavy.
What a disgusting
That's
thing
another political thing.
What a
government
disgusting
fucking...
You know? And so, yeah, trauma can it forms us. It can... Honestly, I was a different person.
Yeah.
And I tried to be in a relationship afterwards. It didn't work out, and it was because I was so angry.
Well, you weren't...
I was so angry. I wanted to help her because she was in pain, and she wouldn't help me because I was in pain. But
you can't do that. Those relationships don't work. Right?
Bingo.
And you got to be.
The honestly, anger.
You got to be. You know, that was forgiving yourself is one of the hardest things in life.
I'll tell you something else.
That was.
Honestly, every time I drink, this comes up. So I apologize to you guys out there
for this. No, it's fine.
Yeah, if I drink, this comes out, and it's just because it's. Cheers, man.
I'm here to get to know you too.
It's just because it's a trauma. It's just because it's a trauma. So it comes out when I drink. And so after that, after the 2 years, I decided I was going to join. Which was a metal band, and I did not know what the hell I was doing. And then a couple days or a month into it, messages me, and he's like the band leader, and he's like, I've kicked out 2 members, and I was just.
I know that.
And I said, you know, they're my friends. I just can't get behind this, and I just wanted to get in for fun. So I just wanted to try to sing for fun. And I was like, why didn't you talk to me before kicking these guys out? And it was like, no answer. So I was like, okay, well, I'm done then. So they brought in a new vocalist, and what do I see? Them posting a song of him singing my lyrics. I was only in the band for a month. So I messaged the singer, and I just said,
isn't that great?
Dude, just write new lyrics. Like,
people go to jail for plagiarism, motherfucker.
I was like, can you cut me out? I don't want anything to do with this. Like, it's just nothing to do with me. You know, and then I messaged the guy, and I told him the same thing. Just take me out. I don't want to be anything with it. But then I realized I gave a crap. So, thank you. It made me realize I still cared about music, and I still cared about my words. Whereas before, I didn't. Before, I didn't. For like 2 years, I was
just... Or you just didn't realize that you did.
I was numb. I was numb and angry.
Even before that, before the incident? You feel
probably
not in touch with anything you wrote?
Probably not. Probably more so after. I mean, beforehand, I wrote a lot of stuff. Like, in the beginning, I was a drug addict, and I wanted to get clean, and I was like, from now on, I'm going to be the Ginger Fox, which is the right behind you, the poster. So I said, I'm going to be the Ginger Fox from now on, and that means I won't do the drugs anymore. And I made a MySpace account.
You better stay away from me, boy.
You know, made the MySpace account. It didn't work, but it kind of worked. It worked for, no. It didn't work. It didn't really work. Anyways, so then, you know, it was fun. I was a Ginger Fox, but In the end, I didn't like it because I'd show up to bars and they'd be like, "Hey, where's the girl?" And I'd be like, "Right here, baby.
I brought her back home.
I'm the only girl you're gonna get." And Ginger Fox was fun. We opened for the London Choir Boys, who got to go on tour with Guns N' Roses, the Rolling Stones. So the stories I got out of them were worth it, all by themselves.
It's one of those progressions in life, right? The lessons.
Yeah, man. Hearing about the Rolling Stones calling all the musicians over to their house the night that they bought the Police album, well, they got it in advance. And this is what the bass player from, they were telling me, the Choir Boys, and they were like, yeah, they called us up. They called everyone up in Liverpool. And they're like, get over here now. Like, this is a big deal. And everyone over at Mick Jagger's house sat down and listened to the Police, and they all went, shit's changed. Shit's changed. We ain't gonna be the same anymore. And it was literally that album that changed classic rock and showed pop elements that could thrive through it, showed other elements that could thrive through it, and they were like kind of traumatized by it. They were like, this is amazing, but it's like, this is different.
Where are we going?
Right? Exactly. They were like, this is good, but this ain't what we do. So I like getting those stories and like meeting those people. Because I am just a small town boy, and I love it, you know, hearing about the big world.
Small town people do big things, man.
Hell yeah. You know, the drummer from Buffalo Springfield was from Chesterville. And that's on the sign in Chesterville. For a few years, it was my goal to get my name put up there instead of his.
Chesterville population
1,400.
Warren.
I would love to make money so I could buy back that house. Just so I could put my parents back in that house. You know? Anyways, I blabbed and blabbed. I'm sorry, John.
This guy fucking apologizing on his own
I've
podcast.
had so much fun with you, though. See,
Yeah,
I haven't
good.
blabbed
That's why
like
I'm here.
this. I haven't blabbed like this.
I'm a blabber, bro. I'm a blabber.
There you go. Well, you brought the alcohol, so it's his fault. He knows how to do a podcast. Let's put it that way, folks. He knows.
Make sure to ask ahead of time.
He brought the alcohol. Yeah, I said it was
A
cool.
little more. I'll bring the hookers and blow there. What else you want?
I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I don't care. We have 57 subscribers right now, folks. Until that number goes up to like 5,700, I ain't going to care at all. Please.
Help bring it to 5,600.
Yeah, subscribe.
Hell
Come
yeah.
on. We're here having fun with Jon Rioux. And, John, right now your passion is to be with this PanterA, with FanterA. Is that your passion, or are you writing new music?
No, I definitely have my own.
Can the people find you yet, or is this something in works?
On what?
Like the new stuff.
On which paradigm? The new stuff. There's nothing really new that's out. I'm craving. Releasing original music again, right?
Hell yeah, there's nothing like it.
So it's back to like the whole when I got out of music, like what you went through, right? Like you just like it was a dead part of me for a bit, and like people were saying, oh, you know, you'll be back, and I was like, like I knew deep down, yeah, that's such a part of my life. Music in the church or something. Come on, Rudy. Come on, Rudy. What's his name?
Sasha, come on.
Sasha.
This is
Sasha, piece of shit.
Sasha's 115-pound
come on,
shepherd
dog.
husky, and she sheds a lot. So I vacuum every day in here to try and help with the guests. John's wearing black, so this isn't good news for John. But this is what Sasha wants to do.
Sasha, get on cam, girl.
She did this today from gasoline, Big Motor Gasoline. She jumped up on
God.
on people's laps, and you know, look at the hair coming
As long as
off
I
of
don't
her,
fill
right?
my beer with fucking hair.
This is what she is, man. She's a big hairy monster, but she's full of love. And
You said she's got husky, right?
yeah, she's husky shepherd. We thought she was gonna be 65 pounds. She ended up being like naturally 105, 115 pounds. Like, we don't feed her extra. In fact, we're like trying to bring it back. But, you know, anyway, she's a good girl. She's a good girl. Thanks for handling that so nicely.
No worries.
I know some people don't like dogs.
I have no hair in my beard. I'm good.
That's what it's all about. It's all about.
No, but the original shit, like we were talking about earlier, I think before we went on, was we had a fire. You were explaining you had a fire under your ass too with Timmy Sorry and shit.
Yeah. When I came back, I met those guys in Quebec. I said, look, I want friends, but that's not why I'm here.
I want friends like those.
I'm here because I want to throw something, and I want to stick at the wall. And it's going to cost money, and it's going to hurt.
But
But if you want it, I want it, and we're gonna do it.
Absolutely.
And it happened. It happened when Alan Cross spoke about us. I was mind blown. When when I woke up and I saw Crazy hit 35 and Ozzy Osbourne was #1, I was mind blown because we manifested it just like you talked about as a group, as a unit.
The more people that manifest,
and we agreed we would sacrifice. People ask, "How do you get where you go?" Sacrifice. And I'm not into Satanism. I'm not into the bad I'm not into that shit.
I went to church when I was a
kid. I'm not into that. But what I'm saying is, you gotta give to get. And once you give enough, you really...
It's all push and pull, man.
Yeah, man. And when we got Blues Fest, I didn't believe it.
Dude,
I didn't believe it.
That was fucking cool.
I was getting pictures done with Sean's sister. And I was outside having a smoke. I've been smoke-free since February 2nd. So
that night I was having a smoke.
I'm out there having a smoke, and Joe, my guitarist, comes jumping on my back, and he goes, "Dude, did you see the email?" I'm like, "No, man." He's like, "We're in Blues Fest." I'm like, "No," because I've applied 12 times in a row. So I was like, "No, I just apply and forget about that," I'm like, "I doubt that, brother." Yeah, like, get off my back. And then out came the bass player, who I know ain't messing around. And when he was like, "We're in," I was
Alex?
like, "Yeah." He's the best.
I think I know Alex. I'm pretty sure Alex came to my house.
He's the best. If you know Alex Pellerin, then you know he's the best dude. He's just a heart and soul.
He was
dude.
fucking he was cool.
My band would have Taming Sorry would go nowhere without him.
I'm pretty sure he was the one who came to my place to pick up Joe Lyko's.
Joe Lyko, such a cool guy. I saw you did videos with Joe Lyko, and those were excellent videos.
Yeah.
And also he records music, which is excellent as well.
Yeah. No, Joe's deep into...
I'm going to try and get Joe on.
He's actually... Yeah, he'd be awesome.
Yeah, man, he's awesome.
He's deep in the scene, too. That's another
bad.
candidate who's definitely in the scene,
I never worked with Joe, so I feel bad. I took my business to a guy named Dominic Lanois, and he did such a great job with our first 2-3 videos.
For me, it was like, how the fuck did... So, for me and Joe, it was about... I'm all about bartering, right?
Yeah,
It's the best tax evasion ever.
For me, it's a little bit different than... Go ahead.
That's how it was. It was about... I would fix his motorcycle in exchange of a music video. But I forget how I approached him or how we met, so to speak. But anyways, that's what it was, right? So in the end, that's where I'm pretty sure Alex, PanterA,
yeah.
he's the one who ended up coming because it was his old motorcycle or something that Joe. Anyways, whatever.
Oh.
So I did the work on it. And I'm doing all this diagnosing and fucking so much work on it. And then I had the shit running, and the oil's pissing out of the motorcycle. I'm like, what the fuck? And I bought an oil filter to do all the oil change and everything after I finally got it running. And I get under the bike, and the fucking casing of the engine, the lower casing, right where the oil filter was, when I pulled the oil filter off, there was a chunk of the fucking casing of the engine gone. And I'm like, ooh. Joe, I'm like, fuck, bro, I'm so sorry. Like, all this time, like, I wish it's something you want to catch in the beginning, right? And it was like, there's a fucking, like, did you hit something? Like, he's like, no. And like, and then that's where I think Alex was the previous owner, or he borrowed it, whatever. He's like, I'll talk to buddy, see if he might have hit something. But anyways, so the bike was fucking just pooch, right? So I'm like, fuck, dude. He's like, oh, I'll just pay whatever. I'm like, no, dude. I was looking like the deal.
It can't be Alex. Alex doesn't ride motorcycles. But no.
I might be wrong, man.
If Alex rides
maybe he was doing the favor to pick it up.
Could have been somebody else in the band.
I know who picked it up when I saw your podcast. 14 or 13 or 14. I'm like, I don't know the guy. I think that's the guy who came to my place. But
Alex was a while ago. Big Motor Gasoline was 13. Dave Brown. Maybe Dave is the guy. He's number 13. Anyways, who cares? To be honest, I love motorcycles. I just don't have the guts to get on one.
How many shots have you had?
Only 4. And
she's good for one more. You remember?
That's more than I have most nights. I'll tell you that right now, folks. And even when I go to the bar, it's a lot more than I have. But I love John, and
I love this guy.
I think John's.
You know what's fucked is that this is the first time we actually meet in person.
It is. It is. But vocalists don't always meet, and we have a lot of respect for each other from a distance, I think. Like, I look at vocalists around the city, and I awe at them.
Stop throwing me flowers, bro.
Well, I'll tell you, man, it's like you talked about manifesting, and it really got to me because it reminded me of when we played at the Ottawa Senators, and it reminded me of how I thought that was impossible. I believed it was impossible.
Nothing is, right?
And when we sent the email with Down with the Devil with the music video, I thought nothing of it. And when they got back and they were like, yes, you can play 3 original songs.
It's the uncle in the mirror when he's fucking positive self-talk, man.
Exactly. You see, that's exactly what I was trying to get at.
Pick it up, women.
There's some truth to it.
You go in a bar and women have this, this is a little off topic from music, but there's this like sixth sense that we all have, I think, that we're taught to not use, but women have it at the frequencies even more. It's a higher frequency than ours, but
oh yeah, for sure.
If you go in a bar and as soon as you think like, oh man, this chick, I don't know, is she into me? I don't know. They fucking, I swear to God, they hear you talk to yourself. But if you go in there and you bullshit yourself, even if you're nervous, just say, I'm the shit. I'm gonna pick up this woman. I don't care. You don't give a shit. You're gonna pick her up.
There is truth in confidence.
But it's like that with a lot of shit.
There's truth in confidence and believing in yourself.
I did it with my automotive business, man. Like I would call places like, oh, where are you calling from? I'm like, oh, this is John at PanterA Metal Automotive. You want? I'm like, do you want my HST number or my business license? Oh no, it's cool. And dude, I was fucking branching. I was networking. I was building this fucking aside from the shit I built in dealerships myself, because I'm very grateful of like. Uncle Honda, they'd fucking deliver right to my door in my house. Like, I ran my business in my house. It's commercial zone and it's a business, but I'm not a fucking storefront. And the dealership and, like, even friends, like, where I work now out of, since the fire and shit, is like, dude, they'll bring here, like, Honda's here. I'm like, yeah, dude. It's all good. They're coming from Ottawa. It's networks are everything, right? And and it's a blessing. And I think a lot of the tumultuous events in life have taught me that. It's always people are like, oh man, you've been through so much shit. It's like, you know what? Yeah, it's better. The more tumultuous events, the better, because it'll filter out the bullshit people.
Makes you stronger.
The real people, will be there, you know. And
makes you wiser. And I know I've gotten wiser in the last 5 years because
like wiser whiskey.
Well, yeah, for sure, definitely. But what I mean is, I used to piss people off in my bands. I don't know why I whispered that, but I used to really upset people. Piss
people off.
I would really get upset, and I'm hothead. That's why. So people were like, I don't want to do this. Because of this,
your hair's always on fire.
Bingo. And I try and explain that to people.
Are you really a hothead,
they don't. Yeah. Oh,
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah. But I'm way better in the last 5 years because of my band, because of the guys in my band.
Like shit.
I'm way better. Bingo. Mig won't put up with it. If I lose my cool, Mig looks at me like I'm absolutely. He looks at me like I'm dumb. He does. He looks at me like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you, bro.
Are you the only?
But I remember Down with the Devil when they were putting all this newspaper up all over the wall for the music video, and I felt like they weren't going fast enough. I felt like they were really taking off their foot off the pedal, and I was like, "Come on, you guys want this or not?" But I felt like the song was good. I felt like the song was good and it was gonna do something. I really felt it, and it did. So Warren wasn't 100% wrong. It did get us noticed, folks, but I lost my cool. And they were like, they came to me and they were like, can't do this, buddy. Exactly. And I like went out in my car and like did a lap around and cooled down. And then I came back and I was like, I'm sorry. I'm a dick.
Empathy, right?
And Ginger Fox, my first band, ended because somebody said, look, I don't want to do this show in Toronto. And I was like, you're an idiot. What is wrong with you? Don't react that way, folks. I promise you, it doesn't work well. And I've grown since that. So that I'm happy about. That, like, I've grown beyond that point. But at the same time, I've also been told the stories about Bryan Adams here in Ottawa, going to high school, and being in a band with people from Ottawa, and telling these people, after a week, you don't have what I want, you don't have what I need, I'm moving on.
The fuck is the saying I heard?
And a year later, Bryan Adams was the biggest name in Canada. So there is something to sticking to your guns.
Did you what? Sorry. Yeah, no, it is.
You know, there is, but at the same time, you lose out, right? On all these people.
Progressing as a wise man.
Yeah.
Wisdom is age, right? I mean, I took a course once on empathy, and honestly, we all do it. and I learned from this course, especially and with age and having a kid and running a business too. But this even before, what really taught me was like empathy too, and like now. So the thing I tell people and I learned from that is the number one very important thing. Empathy is fucking always like
number
to
one.
So many things.
Yeah.
But emotions have zero fucking logic.
It's true. Right? It's true.
Yeah. 100%. So when I do, like, we always want to act or react how we feel, right? So I used to fucking, me too. I'd get triggered, and be like, fuck yeah, I want to snap, right? So now I'm like, as I'm older and wiser, and learned experiences in life and whatever, in this course especially, which really pointed that out in my life, was like, if there's a piece of shit in my life, whatever it is that I borrow, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? I'll be the cool guy. I'll be like, I'm going to take it in, I'll be like, circle around it, whether it's business, personal, whatever, borrow, fucking whatever the fuck. I'll just kind of stand there and you just,
process it.
And if I've learned so much more to tell someone off professionally and politely, is there's so much gratitude. Dude, it's the best fucking feeling ever. But if shit has to throw down, just fucking go, bro. But I've thought of it in my head before. Enough, like, where people, if someone's yelling, I'd be like, hey, man, maybe this guy just divorced his wife. Maybe he lost his child. We don't fucking know other people's situations, right? But when it comes to a point where you've circled those circumstances, because I'm a butt person, I'm like, I'm on the fence, like, I'm the same way. I'm devil's advocate, I'm like, but, or circumstance, everything is fucking circumstantial. So if someone's in my face or whatever, I'll be like, oh yeah? I'm like, is there something else you'd like to fucking say? Or like, did I do... Like, I've gotten into faces of, like, people I would not... Or I've gotten into fights where I would never reenact that if it was planned. I can't, but it's also about taking matters in situations in the moment. And really, again, emotions have zero logic. So if you can stand and sit in a situation and be like, okay, and that's what I try to do, and be like, once I've realized that the person's out of line, and I've kind of... analyze the situation and be like, no, he's just fucking being a piece of shit. Then I'll snap, right? But otherwise, I'm just like, but seriously, right?
Yeah. I think that's a good way to look at it.
And even try to be a better person. And if you can tell someone off politely
and do it
and professionally, it's like when someone's losing their shit in your face and you're calm. Who looks like even if the person who's losing his shit has factual fucking points and is right. Which usually they're not because it's emotions, right? But I mean, they'll still look worse in the situation.
Yeah.
Your respect of your opinion will be broadened more if you're calm and whatnot. But I mean,
this is the final lesson of tonight, folks. Try and keep your calm.
I've gotta pee, even when you're peeing.
Even when you gotta pee, try and keep your calm. I just want to say thank you so much to Jon Rioux.
No, don't.
Go check out FanterA. Go see a FanterA show. Check out John's work if he releases something original. I know there's a
lot of that coming.
It's gonna be cool. So check it out.
I would love to do some work with you. Actually,
hell yeah, let's do it.
I love Mr. Meredith's fucking.
Yeah,
voice.
man.
He's got the grit.
Hey man,
he's got the style. He's got the fucking.
I like that Jon Rioux likes me. I think it's a cool thing. I'll take it. And
it's not that cool, bro.
I think it's cool, man. And I thank you so much for chilling and bringing the drinks and like having fun with me. I know everybody had fun out there. And if you watched, give John some love. Come on, subscribe to the channel.
We love you just as much.
We do love you. We do love you.
Thank you so much, man.
Oh, dude, thank you.
That's fucking awesome, bro.
Thank you, man. Jon Rioux, check him out. And
all worn out.
Hey, you've been watching All Worn
Out.
And we'll see you next time.
We're out.
Bye.
Love, peace, and chicken grease, motherfucker.